ब्रह्माणि वीणापाणि ब्रह्माणि संगीत साहित्य कला प्रमोदे संगीत साहित्य कला प्रमोदे देवी पुरे शारदे देवी पुरे शारदे देवी सरस्वती विद्या सुमति देवी सरस्वती विद्या सुमति मंगलमूर्ति सतीति मंगलमूर्ति सतीति संगीत साहित्य कला प्रमोदे संगीत साहित्य कला प्रमोदे देवी पुरे शारदे देवी पुरे शारदे देवी पुरे शारदे देवी पुरे शारदे
Thank you, Shuhani. Thank you, Pooja. Thank you, Chaitra, for giving an auspicious start to the program. Now, I would like to request our head of the department, Dr. G. Degradation, Department of Soil Science and Agricultural Chemistry, COA Shivamogga, to welcome all the dignitaries and the participants of the World Soil Day 2022.
Very good morning to all of you, and I wish you all happy World Soil Day 2020 on this occasion. Distinguished dignitaries of our university, guests, and my fellow colleagues, and my dear students. I am here to propose the welcome speech to welcoming the dignitaries. I'm going to highlight the importance of the World Soil Day celebration by examination. The World Soil Day is an international day to celebrate soil as an important natural resource and vital for living beings. And this was first recommended by the International Union of Soil Sciences in 2002 under the leadership of the Kingdom of Thailand in the framework of the Global Soil Partnership. The Food and Agriculture Organization has supported this event and established the World Soil Day as a global awareness raising platform. The FAO fully supported and endorsed this event, and also it was adopted by the 68th UN General Assembly during the year 2013 in December, and later the first official World Soil Day was celebrated on December 5th, 2014. Since then, we have been celebrating this World Soil Day as International Day to create awareness for protection of soil and also conservation of soil for living beings. In order to join with the global community, the University of Agricultural and Horticultural Sciences, Shivamogga, and the Department of Soil Science and Chemistry is celebrating World Soil Day on this day. This is the first time we are celebrating this event on a digital platform or virtual meet due to changing the situation caused by COVID-19 pandemic. To make witness, we have invited the important dignitaries, eminent personalities to this event. It is my great pleasure and honor for me as head of department to give a warm welcome to all of you to this event. It is organized by Department of Science and Chemistry, College of Agriculture, Shivamogga. First of all, on behalf of the Department of Science and Chemistry, it's my great opportunity and privilege to give a warm welcome to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. M. K. Naik, sir, who has agreed to inaugurate this function, followed by inaugural speech. Sir, I would welcome you, sir, to this function. It is a privilege and honor to welcome on the behalf of Department of Science and the Chemistry, our beloved Dean Agri, Dr. M. Naik, sir, who happily agreed to preside over the president of this function, sir. So again, I welcome sir to this function. Indeed, a great privilege and pleasure to extend a warm welcome on behalf of the University of Agricultural Sciences and Horticultural Sciences and the Department of Science and Chemistry to eminent scientist Dr. A. Natarajan, the retired principal scientist, NBSS and Loop, Regional Center Abroad, Bangalore, who happily agreed to give a keynote address related to the theme of this year, Safe Soil Protecting the Soil Biodiversity. We will be presenting the keynote address later. So once again, I will welcome our it gives me a immense pleasure to welcome our guest of honor, Dr. Dinesh Kumar, M. Registrar, UAHS Shivamogga. I also extend heartfelt welcome to Dr. Mantapa, Director of Research, UAHS Shivamogga, to this function, sir. I take this opportunity to welcome K. Dhamurti, DPS, and also the university heads. UAHS Shivamogga. Sir, welcome you, sir, to this function. I also give a warm welcome on behalf of Department of Science and Chemistry to Dr. Ganesh Naik, the DSW, UAHS Shivamogga. It's a pleasure to welcome University Librarian Dr. H. Narayanaswamy to this function, sir. I feel honored to welcome on the behalf of the Department of Science, all the heads of the departments, fellow colleagues, and all the participants who joined and also watching through the online, through Zoom or YouTube, and also offline. So that is all the participants. And I also extend a warm welcome to our beloved Director of Extension, Dr. K.C. Shishidhar sir. So finally, I welcome the press, media, and also the reporters. Finally, I warm welcome all of you once again for this memorable event. Thank you. Okay, so I am very happy that our board member, Dr. Arun Kumar, is on online. So I'd like to welcome you, sir, to this event. Thank you, Ananda.
Thank you, sir. And we all warmly welcome our head of the department, Dr. G. N. Tipeshappa, sir. I also warmly extend my warm welcome to the head of the Department of Horticulture, Dr. Tipesh. Thank you, sir.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Now, with immense pleasure, I would like to request our dignitaries to inaugurate the World Soil Day 2020 by lighting the Jyoti.
Nagraj.
May I kindly request our Honorable Vice Chancellor to deliver the inaugural speech for the occasion.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Audible?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, very good morning, all my colleagues, and also I greet all our esteemed colleagues in the Department of Soil Science, headed by Dr. Tippeshappa, and all my, in fact, if I say only soil science, it will be an injustice to all agricultural scientists. So, in the first place, I greet the World Soils Day to all my esteemed colleagues in the Department of Soil Science, plus all agricultural scientists and all my colleagues who have joined for this particular wonderful program of World Soils Day. So, the president of the function, Dr. Hemla Naik, and my esteemed colleagues, Dr. Dinesh Kumar, the registrar, Dr. Hanumantappa, the director of research, Dr. Shashidhar, the director of extension, Dr. Gurumurthy, the dean postgraduate studies, Dr. Ganesh Naik, the dean students welfare, Dr. Narayan Swami is not visible there, librarian, and all the colleagues of the department, and most importantly, the chief guest of the today's function, Dr. Aina, Principal Scientist of National Bureau of Soil Survey and Land Use Planning at Regional Station of Bangalore. So I also take this opportunity to welcome him wholeheartedly for this particular function, for he will be delivering the keynote address. So it's my pleasant duty to have inaugurated, and I would have been very happy to be present there, but actually the Vice Chancellor Conference to be addressed by the Honorable Agriculture Minister has already started. So I will not be taking more than 15 minutes. Kindly excuse me for not being with you there, but I am very much with you. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the United Nations declared the World Soils Day on 5th of December 2013. And this 5th of December 2013 was declared by the United Nations as the World Soils Day to commemorate the memory of the King of Thailand, and his name is H.M. King Bhumibol. He is the king of that time. So in his memory, this particular Soils Day is celebrated world over. So the message is very clear. The message is save the soil, save the humanity. If you save the soil, you are actually saving the humanity. In other words, keep the soil healthy, protect it, preserve it, and pass it on to the next generation so that it will go as a natural resource for the generations to come in future. That is the whole concept behind celebrating this particular World Soils Day. Friends, I need not have to tell you. In Kannada, we call Irudonde Bhumi. That means on this universe, if there is one planet which is living, that is Earth planet. So we call it as Sajiva Graha. Sajiva Graha means Graha which proliferates life, which promotes life, which always encourages life and which continues the life. And that is the only place that is planet Earth. There is one book written by Nagesh Hegde, and the title of the book is Irudonde Bhumi. That means this is the only living planet. In fact, from time for the last 200 years or probably 100 years, we have been trying to hunt for another planet which is living. So we have hunted, and in fact, we have explored the entire universe. We have explored the entire universe. So much of even Moon, Mars, so many planets and outer exploration of the world. But the point remains the same. There is a chance to find other planets. Controversies are there. That there may be. Tell me, any problem? Are you facing any problem?
No, sir. Sir, you can continue. No, sir.
Okay. So, although there are spaces explored to see whether there should be some other living planet, but so far we have not got it. Little controversy is there. But for right now, we can say that this is the only living planet. And this planet, the land, that means soil. So in other words, if there is no soil, there cannot be life. There cannot be life without soil. So both the things hold good. That means there can be no life without soil. There can be no soil without life. This is what I think, if you remember, the President of America, Franklin Roosevelt, he said, if the nation that destroys the soil destroys itself. This is the golden word given by Roosevelt. The nation that destroys the soil will destroy itself. That is a wonderful word. So let us examine how, of course, I don't want to go into the origin of soil or origin of life, Obviously, it is below. There are several theories, but because of the so much of gaseous mixture like ammonia, carbon dioxide, fluorocarbons, etc., continuous heating and carving several millions of years, one fine day, a fine droplet came into existence, and that droplet is nothing but a soup that is called life soup. And from that day onwards, that is considered to be amoeba. And till today, it's almost 500 billion years. We have evolved and evolved and evolved to say that being is the owner of the earth. That's all. Please don't talk in between. I'm finding the cross talk. Okay, please don't talk in between.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಜನ
You have been talking, that's why it is disturbing. Please mute it.
ಸುನಿಲ್ ಕರಿ
Please mute it. Yeah. Now, I have already told that we have explored the outer space, but I doubt whether we have really explored. We don't know what is happening. Just 1 inch below the soil, there are so many myriad living beings. Although we know that we have explored the entire space, more than 100, 200 satellites, everything we know about the earth outside, but not within on the earth's surface. Just 1 inch below, we do not know what is happening. In fact, the earth, the soil 1 inch below is a very myriad of several living beings, invisible, but millions of organisms are present. If you just take 1 gram of soil, it contains about thousands of bacteria, about hundreds of fungi, about tens of nematodes, Dr. Ravindra's nematode, about 10 to 30 species of mites, and also about 50 to 100 insect species. And if you take about 1 square meter area of, you will find about thousands of invertebrates, just 1 square meter area. And that means all those living organisms presently, almost about 90% of the living organisms are supported by the soil. So that means the soil is giving the biodiversity for almost about 25 to 50% of the living organisms. But every organism will spend a part of the life cycle or the complete life cycle in the soil only. So that speaks, it is a very, very invisible, but inexhaustible. We thought that it is inexhaustible. It is not inexhaustible. It is one of the wonderful, valuable natural resource given by the God and has been manufactured for several years. If you want to take one inch of topsoil, 1 centimeter of topsoil, you require about several millions of years. And that is the beauty of the soil. And as far as the several millions of organisms are concerned, this time, since soil is taken as a soil biodiversity, soil living organisms, I am sure as a soil scientist, you will be looking at what should be done for soil physical character, maybe bulk density, soil structure, soil chemistry, cation exchange capacity, several of soil pH, acidity, liming, so many things. But the most unhidden part is the myriad living things. And that's what this time the United Nations thought rightly that it is time to explore the biodiversity, the soil living organisms which are hidden in the soil, which need to be protected and preserved. Of course, with all these living organisms, there is also one biggest visible example, evidence available in Michigan state. And in fact, you might be surprised. One single mushroom fungus has spread about 9 square kilometer area, which has occupied the soil surface, about 9 square kilometer area, Michigan state, which is weighing approximately 75,000 tons. So this is also a surprise present in the soil. This is also a support given by the soil. So that is the beauty of the soil. Of course, as usual, because it is a very invaluable source, I am very pleased to see Dr. Vagish,
Good morning.
accomplished soil scientist, and also the ex-dean PGS. I welcome you, and probably I also welcome all other officers, former officers. Welcome you for this World Soil Day. So having said this, that the soil contains about 90% of the living myriad beings, invisible, which is supporting the soil, because the soil formation, soil structuring, the soil texturing, the loosening of the soil, and then making the soil, making it available for production of food, production of feed, production of fiber, production of fodder. So all F's, food, feed, fiber, then fodder, everything has to come from wonderful soil. Incidentally, I see colorful dress by all our officers, giving a green color to the soil. Hopefully, that is the indication that the soil has to make the world green. And it is the duty, it is the role of the soil which gives that green or light blue color, whatever color you are wearing. So that means soil organisms work for 365 days, works for 24 hours in a day, works for 7 days in a week. So it conducts itself to say that the 95% of the food comes from the soil. Although we say hydroponic cultivation, aeroponic cultivation, but they are only fashionable, hardly 5%. Apart from that, maybe from the ocean, sea farming, we get about 5 to 6%. Otherwise, the entire food resource comes from soil itself. Let me tell one thing here. Not only soil is today soil scientists can really feel proud, because soil is also a source of medicine. Earlier days, our olden people, grandparents, they were, any injury they were treating with soil, pet soil. But I can tell you the scientific reason behind that. If you take antibiotics, streptocycline, streptomycin, glyocladin, viridin, and several of the 2,4-DA diacetyl dichlorphenazine, chloroglycinol, pyrrolonitrin, then siderophores. Most of these antibiotics produced by the bacteria, that soil is the house, soil is the home where we have extracted bacteria. I can tell one incident of an accidental discovery. In fact, Alexander Fleming, 1927, who was working on soil bacteria in a Petri plate, he was working on Staphylococcus. One fine morning, he could see that particular bacteria, between the bacteria and then a fungus, a contaminant came as a fungus, and the bacteria was inhibited by that particular fungus secreting some zonal inhibition. And that zonal inhibition was nothing but penicillin, discovered by Alexander Fleming, almost celebrating 93 years of its discovery. Today, I am sure all of you, those who are listening, I am sure not a single person is left out with the injection of this particular penicillin. Amoxicillin, you have seen when you enter the medical shop, you will find a face of the baby smiling with amoxicillin. That is the indication of penicillin, discovered accidentally. Today, large-scale manufacture of penicillin has come from soil, and that was the reason our elder people were treating the soil whenever there was injury. In fact, infections till 1927, any infection on the leg or on the foot, that foot used to be amputated, cut, surgery was done, because you have to limp, there was no other way. but only when the penicillin was discovered by Alexander Fleming from a soil fungus, he could discover it, and today it has become one of the wonderful drugs. Not only that one, several drugs have come from soil bacteria. In fact, Bacillus thuringiensis, BT cotton, the credit for discovery of Bacillus thuringiensis, which can destroy the cotton bollworm when you spray it. So that particular bacteria resides in the soil. It is a soil dweller. Soil is a house for bacteria. So that bacterial BT cotton, we thought that we can't go on spraying it. We manufactured a cotton plant. In that cotton plant, we put the gene of the Bacillus thuringiensis, and that BT cotton became a manufacturing factory for production of protein crystals. And that protein crystal, when it comes in contact with the bollworm, when it ingests it enters into the gut. In the gut, the pH is acidic and it dissolves. That is why the insect is paralyzed. So this is how the credit of hosting such a wonderful BT, Bacillus thuringiensis gene, in fact, trichoderma, its home is soil. For 100 years of discovery, today we have been able to sequence the genome of trichoderma. Having sequenced the genome of trichoderma, we now know there are more than 200 genes which are present in trichoderma residing in the soil, which is used for control of several diseases, soil-borne diseases, a management of several, I think, candidate transgenes have been developed. Kite genes, they are called as chitinase genes, which has come from trichoderma. So wonderful discoveries have come from the soil. I think soil scientists would know better. The activities of the soil organism is called as, they are called as soil engineers. They are the soil engineers because they decompose the organic matter decomposition, mining of the horizon of the soil. They are also responsible for nutrient cycling, whether it's a carbon cycle, sulfur cycle, nitrogen cycle, all these cycles, apart from carbon sequestration, apart from your release of greenhouse gases, plant growth promotion, then of course leaching, uptake of nutrients by the mycorrhiza, use of mycorrhiza in the soil. I think whole range of ecosystem service present in the soil is catalyzed by these myriad living beings, not invisible, but definitely their home is soil. So I would like to finally highlight the last point. The first green revolution of 1970s, we attribute it to crops, we attribute it to plant, we attribute it to the architect of the plant, and the architecture of the plant is plant breeder. When I say architecture, because plant breeder, don't mistake me, as if there are plant breeders, don't mistake me. Plant breeders never bothered about the underground soil. He was worried about the above ground architect of the plant, and that is why he dwarfed the tall rice plant and a tall wheat plant and dwarfed it. And that dwarfed architect of a plant yielded so much of yield because it was fertilizer responsive, water responsive, everything it gave, and definitely it has helped us to feed our hungry stomach. But let us also remember, he assumed, plant breeder, plant pathologist, every plant scientist believed and assumed soil is an inexhaustible resource. That was the only mistake. Soil is an inexhaustible resource. It is a valuable resource, and he took it for granted. Because he took it for granted, we used the soil, we misused the soil, we abused the soil, we degraded the soil, and soil is now, the Mother Earth says, I can no longer bear your assault. The soil says, I can no longer bear your assault. at this point of time. That is why the United Nations realized that it is not the above ground plant, it is the below ground myriad living beings. It is the below ground very valuable, precious soil resource which should be protected, preserved, and then pass it on to the next generation. That was the intention. That is why my message, as has been rightly pointed out by Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, the living legend of Green Revolution. He also said now, the soil anemia breeds human anemia. The human anemia is bred because the soil is deficient in micronutrients. Sodium, zinc, molybdenum, potassium, so many. My father is 84 plus. He was admitted to hospital. When his blood was checked, his sodium level was less. Nowadays, people are checking themselves how much of sodium is there, how much of potassium is there, how much of zinc is there, how much of oxygen saturation. Now, COVID era, how much of oxygen saturation? Anything less than 94, you become, panic. So all these elements, micro elements, which were deficient in the soil, were also deficient in the feed, in the crop. So micronutrient deficiency was felt in the crop, micronutrient deficiency was felt in the fodder. So animals became anemic, and our own sisters and brothers became anemic. 42% of our own women becoming anemic. Their hemoglobin content is less than 6. It should be really around 12 to 13. And in men, it should be around 13 to 14. So that means that anemia, soil anemia, as has been rightly pointed out by Professor M.S. Swaminathan, is because of we have misused the soil, not taken care of the health of the soil. That is why I would only send a message. Please save the soil. Take care of the health of the soil. If you are interested to see that your children are going to be nourished in future years, the generations to come have to believe that the soil is going to be the very, very precious resource in future human generation to live. Means protect the soil, preserve the soil. And that is why the President of America, Roosevelt, said one word: if a nation destroys the soil, it destroys itself. So let us not destroy our nation. Let us not destroy our Mother Earth. Let us preserve it, protect it. And I am sure we look forward to listen a wonderful keynote address from an esteemed soil scientist, Dr. A. Natarajan. I welcome him and I congratulate Dr. Tippeshappa for having taken a very good initiative and colorful soil day you are celebrating. And this colorful soil day that you are celebrating should not be confined to 5th December. From 5th December to till next 5th December, see that you reflect upon the importance of the healthy soil, how the soil biodiversity has to be maintained, what actions are to be prepared, what contributions. I think soil science department is one of the richest departments because of the project like Sujala watershed. And this time, last week, we have signed a memorandum to another 26 crore for reward project as an extension of the watershed. This is going to be the richest department in terms of human resource, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of capital, in terms of managing soil also. You are in a better position than anyone else. That is why please preserve the health of the soil and send the message that the underground world is much more important. The architecture of the soil is much more important than the architecture of the plant. No doubt, architecture of the plant is important. Plant breeders, plant scientists have to work keeping an assumption that the soil is not an inexhaustible resource. It is an exhaustible resource. Only when you maintain the soil health, you can maintain the human health. With these words, I once again thank you and I congratulate all of you for your preparation. In fact, I should have been there, but already the ICR Vice Chancellor's Conference by the DG and the Honorable Agriculture Minister started. I'm joining them by another 10 minutes. And I'm sorry that I could not be present there, but I'm very much there with you, with all the soil scientists, agriculture scientists. And it is also my duty as much as anybody's duty. Thank you very much for giving me the time. Thank you very much. All the best. Have a good day. I look forward for a wonderful day for you. Thank you very much. Dr. Tippeshappa, I am done with. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Sir, okay. Thank you
very much. Is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Permit me to join the next program. Okay.
Sir, very much convinced, and you have delivered excellent speech, sir.
Thank you very much.
Enlightened speech. Thank you.
And briefing us about how soil as an invaluable resource is I would like to request our team teacher, Dr. K. Gurumurthy sir, to briefly introduce today's chief guest.
Respected delegates on the dais, my colleagues, teachers, and students, friends. Today I'm very happy because today's chief guest is my best teachers. It is an opportunity to introduce Dr. Natarajan. He is retired principal scientist, National Bureau of Soil Survey and Land Use Planning, Bangalore. He began his professional careers at Tamil Nadu Agricultural University as a research assistant during 1976 to 1978. Then he had joined as a scientist in pedology during, and then he served from 1978 to 1985 at National Bureau of Soil Survey, Land Use Planning, Bangalore. Later, he has been promoted and served as a principal scientist from 1998 to 2003, the same place, that is NBSS and LSD, Bangalore. Now, he is serving as one of the consultants for World Bank. During his illustrious careers, which spans over more than 30 to 35 years of his dedicated service, he contributed immensely in research, teaching, and also he's a good administrator and also the advisor. He is the consultant and advisor for all the most of the state governments and also the government of India and the World Bank. He is not only a researcher, he is also interested in teaching also. So he has guided 9 master students and 3 PhD students, and he has served as advisory member for more than 10 students. And in addition to that, he also offered some of the courses for both the MSc students and PhD students at UAHS Bangalore. And most important, the courses he has offered. And also, I'm happy to say that I'm also the students of Dr. Natarajan. He's a very good teacher, and I also taken some of the courses. Some important advances in pedagogy. Of course, Solid is a good, one of the best teacher and also the pedagogist. So mostly there are very few pedagogists in India. Among these, also one of the pedagogists. In addition to teaching, his research contributions in the area of mostly, besides pedagogy, soil resource inventory, land evaluations and land use planning, and also the natural resource management. He has handled the many projects, some important projects as a leader and also as a consultant, as an NRM consultant in World Bank supported Sujala 3 projects. Most probably we know that Sujala project also the project he was handled in our campus also. There is he has coordinated land LRA activities, that is land resource inventory in Karnataka with state and national institutions. During that, he has developed the field guides for carrying out the LRA activities by using remote sensing. And also, during that, he also developed one of the best book, that is implementation panel for Sujala 3 project, and also he is involved the development of a decision support system for sustainable management of land resources in Karnataka. And also he has handled another important project, that is land resource inventory for forest planning in different agroclimatical regions of India. So it's a network project in 6 regions of the country to finalize the tools, techniques, and methodologies for taking up the large scale, that is a 1:10 scale, and mapping the country. That's during the 2009 to 2012. And also is involved the assessment of land resource for growing the horticulture crops in 14 districts of Tamil Nadu under the MHM project, that is from 2007 to 2011. And also is the served the advisor at another important projects, that is land resource inventory and GSI data based for farm planning in 10 blocks of Tamil Nadu at the 1:10,000 scales. That is usually during the year of 2008 to 2011. It also is involved in the development of soils of India. There is a compilations of the existing information at the scale of 1:1 million scale, that is during the 1984 to 1986. Like that, he is handling the many projects and also is the advisor for the many projects in the states, both at the national and international levels. So in addition, he has published more than 12 research papers in different national and international journals. He has attended and presented 37 research papers, and at the different national and international seminars, symposia, and conferences. And he has, in addition to that, he also published more than 60 research technical bulletins, and also he has received many awards, some few awards like the ICR Senior Research Fellowship, ICR Junior Research Fellowship, and also during the presentation, oral presentations and the poster presentation at the national and international levels, he has received the best oral and best paper presentations. Now he has, of course, he has serving as a consultant for the World Bank funded project, that is reward that is visibility in the watershed for agricultural resilience through innovative development programs. Now they have started. There is also one of the project that you are also one of the partner for the reward project that is headed by the Dr. Dhananjay. And he also served as a consultant for natural resource management, that is from 2013 to 2019 for Switzerland projects that he have completed. So there during that project, he is the advisor for all the partner institute for all the agriculture institutes and the NBSs. He has given a very good suggestion for developing for successful completion of the Switzerland project. Thank you very much for your valuable suggestion during the project itself. So he has widely travels and participated many international conferences, symposiums, on invitations, and he has visited the many countries, some important countries like the United Kingdom, Israel, Zambia, Africa, Australia, etc. So it's a great personality, and also my favorite teachers. Today he is going to speak on the managing soil health for climate smart agriculture. Sir, thank you very much for accepting our invitations. And again, I've given an opportunity to just introduce the guide of nutrition. Thank you for the organizers. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for the brief introduction of the chief guest. Now it's time for us to hand over the screen to our chief guest, Dr. Aina Krajensa, for the keynote address.
Thank you, Dr. Gurumurthy. Thank you, Dr. Tipesappa, and my dear faculty, members, students, and guests. It's a real privilege and honor to be with you today. The importance of the World Soil Day. Our Vice Chancellor has very eloquently brought the point. Am I audible, sir? To you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, very eloquently brought out the importance of the day and the importance of soil on which we all on. And as he has rightly put it, and the saying goes, the state of knowledge and the state of resources, somebody will be, or some part of the country is asking, this is my land, but where is my soil? This is where we are now today. And it's really tragic that we have taken for granted that no soil is inexhaustible, and it's important that we bring our knowledge, we bring our technology, we bring our strength, so that we protect the only resource on which most of the living things and functions and services are dependent on. Can I share my presentation, or hello?
You can share, sir.
Okay.
Share your presentations.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Mute ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡಿ ಕೇಳಿಸಲ್ಲ. ಏನಾದ್ರು ನಡುವೆ ಇಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕರಿಬೇಕು ಅವ್ನು. ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರನೇ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೋದಿತ್ತೆ.
Is this okay? Dr. Gurumurthy, is this okay? Are you able to see my screen?
Very clear. Dr. Natarajan, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
No
Yes.
problem. Leave it.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the delay. There is some delay in projection. Yeah. So what is my plan is to not get into the details, but just to take all of us on a road where the importance of managing the resources for climate smart agriculture, specific in Karnataka, and as this has been for some of the students and faculty members, this World Soil Day is the 7th one, and the appreciation of having a World Soil Day. We have, days for air, we have sunlight, we have water day, but not soil for a long time, and it has been felt for a long time. And the FAO, United Nations, have come forward to celebrate the beauty of soil, how it protects. Sorry.
Whether you like or you can analyze the situation where it is required or not. And I share can actually have a analysis based on your report and existing. And can take help of those reports and if anybody can do that, that would be fine. And but I must say that all the decisions which were reduced, we are not in the.
Sir, what is there? What is happening there? Hello. Can I continue, sir? Please. Hello. Can I continue? But
ಏನಪ್ಪ ಇದು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ Hello.
What is the problem?
Hello.
Yes, sir. What is the problem?
You can continue, sir. No problem.
Okay. So this year's the theme of this year's World Soil Day is keep soil alive, protect soil biodiversity. I think I'll not get into the details of all this. Your Vice Chancellor has very, very, very eloquently brought the point. Why soil biodiversity? Why soil organisms? The soil below our feet, which harbors all these things. How they important? He has brought out the points. Very, very important. This is very critical because it contributes to as an entity. It's a home for more than 25% of our planet's biodiversity. It's unbelievable. 25% of our whole global biodiversity is in the soil. The very thin mantle of soil harbors this, and there is so much ignorance. I don't know how many of you attended yesterday's World Soil Day by FAO. There was a quiz in the end of that presentation. It was around 2 hours. When it was asked, we are all supposed to be learned students and faculties. How much is the biodiversity in soil? There was a very divergence of answers. And some said 1%, some said 50%, some said 75%. And it's a very, very strange. This is the focal theme of World Soil Day is create awareness. Then once you create awareness, the appreciation happens, then the protection follows. It's very critical that all of us, the faculty and fraternity of the colleges, universities, students, down to the communities and farmers, the message of Vice Chancellor saying, let's celebrate this for the whole year. That's what it means. Creating awareness, creating the importance of what it is and where it is, how this can be protected, and what is the reason for that. It makes us a custodian of the important resource which we are having. And there are more living things in the soil than the billions of people on the globe. We know the healthy soil harbors more than our human being which we ever crossed this globe. And more than 90% of the living things are in the soils. But we know less than 1% of these species, what they are, where they are, what is their role, how they are beneficial to us on the well-being of other life species on Earth. Yes, we have almost negligible knowledge of the resource which we have under our food. And they help. The most important thing today, we are talking about climate change. People immediately think of deforestation or going for afforestation. But the most important reservoir is the soil. And you open up more fields and more greenhouse gases, the mitigation becomes very, very difficult. So this context, the degradation or the need for arresting degradation comes into picture. Soil and greenhouse gas is well appreciated today. Even the inter-government panel on climate change is well appreciated, including the United Nations sustainability goal, it's well appreciated. That's very critical. And as your Vice Chancellor has said, it's a 24-hour pharmacy. And we know well, the humanity benefited from soil. Almost all the medicines which we are using and benefiting has come from that, the antibiotics particularly, which changed the scenario of health in our country. So the huge reservoir of soil biodiversity which sustains our survival is under severe stress and pressure. We know well. The unsustainable soil management affects them drastically. Yes. Why this is important? Why soil health is important to us? It's very simple. It's a selfish motive of human beings, and we take it for granted. Human beings are intricately linked to soil, and about 95% of our food and fiber come from soil. There is no way, whether as hydroponics or any other things are the which we make in the future cannot replace this. Over 99+ % of drinking water passes through the soil. It's one of the wonderful filter we have, nature's filter. And we are nothing without living soil. We become emotional. Yes, all of us. And as the saying goes, we are all made from clay. And everywhere it smells of clay. Settled? And literally the word humus, human, is rooted in humus, which is the fertile surface soil. So we can go on highlighting the importance of soil. And it's succinct to say, as Indians, as the children of this country, we treat soil as Mother Earth. That's a reverence, that's a respect. It's important that we go beyond that. As a custodian of the health of us depends on the health of the soil and how we manage for today's and tomorrow's future. So the major factor which affects health, if you list the major parameters or the process of factors which affect health, is the number one is the degradation. The degradation of not soil alone, the complete land resources going on. I don't think we have any check or have an idea to control them. It's most serious threat. And the next is unsustainable land use and farming practices. And then overexploitation. And today in the pandemic time, there is huge discussion going on. 7 billion people vis-a-vis the resources. As the report says, UN and international report says, every year we are exhausting more than what the global supply can sustain us. We are using more than about 2 times what the earth can supply to us. That means we are over exploiting the resources, and soil is one of the resources which is very, very highly over exploited. And then the most important thing I can say is lack of understanding and appreciation of the role of the soil and its health and its link to our survival. So what is the status of land degradation and its impact on soil health? In our country, see, out of 327 million hectares of the total geographical area. This figure, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. We are almost off, or almost 120 million hectares are affected by land degradation. This is the moderate to severe degradation, leave alone the degradation which is just happening, which is in the very smaller extent. About 55 million hectares are classified as wastelands. That means 1/6 of our land mass is a wasteland. How this has happened? So salinity is this is a figure is we are living with this figure 6.6 million for almost 3-4 decades. I'm sure, including your Tungabhadra command and catchment area itself, it may be near about the whole area is under saline or sodic soils. There are some pictures I'll show you and share with you. Today, Punjab and Haryana itself can be the 6 million hectares or whatever the total area is under saline. To some extent of salinity is creeping in. And then deficiency of nutrients. They are critical, as Vice Chancellor has very, very nicely brought this focus of it. Over-exploitation of groundwater, increase in fallows, all this affects health because soil health is intricately linked with all these things. If you're able to see this picture, this is one shot of one rainfall event in the vast black soil region of North Karnataka near Ishur. Every rain takes its bounty of nutrients, soil. The fertility or the sustainability is really under threat. And if you see the next, just know, we have been tracing this, where it started. See, little, another 100 feet. This is the situation. It ends in gullies. And little down, this is the status. I'm just saying one stream, very, very narrow. You can see that how it starts, how it magnifies, where it ends. And this is a field of the farmer. And you can see more than 50% of his farm is, there is no soil. This is what? He has a land, but there is no soil. And what is that he's going to do? And this is not now, we are highlighting small issues. This is widespread. Some of the photos are very widespread situation, alarming situation in the state. And the few shots about irrigation. We think now irrigation brings bountiful harvest or benefits, certainly, if it is controlled, And this was every time there is a warning, irrigation has to be controlled, particularly in black soil areas. And otherwise, this is within 10 years time of Tungabhadra water is released, the salt has come to the surface. This has become barren. And I don't think in the black soil area, any soil scientist can say the reversal is easy. It's very, very tough. A fertile land which has given two bumper crops of dryland crop, today it's struggling for survival. This is where we are now. And then the same area, Tungabhadra, I know how many of you have traveled in Bellary. You can see vast stretches of these lands. These were fertile lands. And fertile lands to paddy lands to prosopis. This is a sequence, the genome sequence, you can say. This is what is going to repeat in black soil areas wherever irrigation is indiscriminately brought in and large plots are open for irrigation, unless you know how to control it. You can open it, but control is the critical thing. And otherwise, you see this picture only. And then this inland salinity, many of us, we miss it. You go any part of the vast stretch of black soil areas, more than 20, recent survey has shown more than 25% of the black soils are affected by inland salinity. And you can see this, this side where my arrow is, this is the field where farmer was cultivating maybe a few decades back. Otherwise, there will be no survey number and boundary if it is a barren from the beginning. These all cultivated areas, now today barren, we don't know how when it happened, but not many years back. And then I didn't have a very good picture in Karnataka where the deforestation, you can say, because everywhere we get a report now, area under forest is increasing. Maybe area is increasing, but I don't know whether real forest or afforestation is really happening. But this is the alarming situation in Northeast, where I could see in person. Every year they do it. It's not for subsistence for the local people. It's a commercial activity. They cut and shipped it to Assam and plains. And Northeast is now suffering for drinking water scarcity. Like Amazon, forest is now totally getting deforested so fast. We are talking about climate change in our country itself. This is happening, and on roads, on both sides of the roads, you can see trucks carrying this. It's happening in day, it's not in night time. This is the situation. And this is what we learned. If we don't care for the land, don't care for the soil, if you allow deforestation, degradation, salinization continue, this is where, this is in near Belgaum, this will be the land. And you'll be wondering what these burns are. There are departments always, they have interventions, they have the courage to put interventions even in such areas. And you know well, all of us know well, one rain is sufficient to wash these things. So it's good for them for going for next year intervention again. So one side intervention, another side continuous degradation of the resources. It's a very, very tragic. I don't think any country who has some sensitivity can allow this to happen. Thousands and thousands of square kilometers. You can see it today with any imagery. These vast stretches of land, once fertile, today it's barren. And it's a win-win situation for the government, because there can be a wasteland development intervention, watershed intervention, all interventions. Nothing is going to change unless the really issues are understood and interventions are made meaningful. Then I've listed some 3-4 interventions which can take us for really towards the greener and climate smart agriculture or sustainable agriculture in the years to come. The most important thing is to start with what it is, what we mean by soil, what the resource is, and where it is, and what it can be used. So the knowledge is critical. Are we having this knowledge is the question. Second is, we need to manage as per their capacity, as per their suitability, as per their need. Once you have the knowledge, this can follow. Then empower the departments, farmers, and institutions. Come with solutions which are in tandem with the requirement of the situation. Otherwise, no, it will be a misapplication. Every scheme fails because of the misapplication. And then what we need is the land stewardship. What we had for our country was prosperous, certainly hundreds and centuries it was prosperous on the whole global scenario. That was because of agriculture. That was because of the local land stewardship. People owned it, people responded to it. If you think of soil health, it cannot happen at the national level or regional. It has to happen at the farm level and grassroots level, where the stewardship, where everyone participates. This is what is needed. Unless you land into land stewardship, then the whole exercise of whatever we are pumping every year in terms of developmental issues, developmental schemes, is going to be of no use. And then coming to the first point, know your soils. This is a very, what I can say, I love this picture because I have a grasp of the landscape. And it tells us a huge story in front of us. Certainly, you can see this top, you can see on the horizon, the tops, right? So the whole landscape were at the same height once upon a time. And the landscape is shaped by the natural forces, like erosion and deposition. These are the two underlying factors and processes which shapes the landscape. And that process are in balance as long as there is no disturbance, or as long as it is within the limit of sustainability. Once the sustainability limit is crossed, then acceleration starts, then erosion starts, then degradation starts, then wasteland starts popping up. This is a simple, logical way we can bring the community and the stakeholders together on a transact, on a tour of the area, so that they are sensitized. And we know well, if you want to have a conservation or intervention, it has to be specific. It has to be specific to this area, specific to this area, specific to the downstream further. In terms of soil, in terms of water, in terms of intervention, everything has to be specific. But do you have this knowledge in our state? No. Not only here, the whole country. We don't have farm specific or location specific information and knowledge about soils. And we all know soil varies from field to field. Rather, literally, it varies inch to inch. So this is the first and foremost thing we need is the information. And you may be asking or wondering how these people, people who are today prosperous, the European countries or the America and most of the countries where agriculture is to some extent profitable, is they have this knowledge. They have their higher resolution information of their soil and other resources. Unfortunately, we have not developed that information base. So certainly you need this. If this information is there, then watershed department knows what should be the type of intervention in the upstream and where it can start, where it can end, and what should be the intervention in the foot slopes or down or towards the valleys. Specifically, that's what we mean by targeted intervention, targeted treatment, targeted way of tackling the issues. So then once this is there, for your kind information, so just to see a small micro watershed, this is part of the 6 years of collaborative work with the universities. You can see a small micro watershed of 500 hectares. See the variations. See, the whole stretch is eroded, and this is the type of very thin mantle of soil. Come down slowly in the periphery, slightly the depth increases, and the whole gray area is the deep soil. Now, unless you have a knowledge about what is this, where it occurs, what is the extent, and why it has happened, then your interventions cannot be pointed or specific. And when you want to target a farmer here in the lower end, even if there is rainfall remains same, this can sustain for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, because 1 cubic meter of soil can hold around 30%, even it can hold green water if it is 2 meters. And that's so the rain-fed area agriculture was successful earlier, because people were aware of it, where to select the area or patches where the deep-rooted crop, long duration crops can benefit. If you have a cropping pattern for the whole area, it will be a failure. Only in patches it will be. Say conservation, if you put the conservation across same way, it's not going to be. So it's critical that we have a knowledge of it. And I just mentioned, not getting into the details, and the state, Karnataka state, in the forefront to capture this, to build this information. Information is the power today. And today's technology permits this. With the remote sensing technology, GIS technology, and all other sensor technologies are helping to see each and every inch of the land and build this database, where Americans have taken 100 years to build this in their country. They have taken 100 years, you'll not believe it. They have a data of this scale for the whole America. We don't have it, but we can build it in 10 years time for the whole country. And Karnataka is on the road map, and they already covered 1/4 of the rain-fed area. And the coming reward, as Vice Chancellor is saying, we will hopefully complete the 6 million hectares of rain-fed area in the state, and it can go for the irrigated area next. So surely, I'm looking forward for this sort of a database in the system, in the state, and which can be used by everyone. See, these are the knowledge products which we can come out. And these are not big things. Today's IT and ICT technologies, remote sensing technologies, and the all other artificial intelligence and machine learning and data analytics permits to handle billions of data, not small amount of data, which earlier we have been struggling. This is the path which the state of Karnataka has taken, where everything is brought on board. I'll show you that. See, today, if you want to have a conservation plan, I don't know how many of you have gone into the system which is there in the state. It's public now. You can go and select the watershed and ask for the conservation plan. It just churns out in a matter of time. because all the data is there in the state data center today. The soil, water, land use, and the weather, and your package of practices which you bring out every year from the universities, crops, all these are stored and linked with the decision support system. So which is a huge development. I thought I can bring to your audience the kind information, because this is the benefit to not only to the state department of agriculture or line departments, to the departments in the university, to the students. Let them focus the issues which are identified, site-specific, location-specific manner, instead of earlier doing in a generalistic fashion. This gives a huge this one, and you see here, I'm getting into little detail. Probably it's worth spending it. A small area, a parcel-wise conservation plan, and here, if you see the picture down here, it's a quantification of the amount of rainfall which is coming hourly in a dynamic fashion. How much can get into the soil depends on the soil type. How much can come as a runoff? How much should be available at this point for harvest? And how much needs to be harvested so that not everything is harvested. Something is allowed to pass into the stream to maintain the ecological balance. So make the interventions starting from one point to another through the downstream in an integrated, in a natural fashion, so that every section is in balance, in harmony. That can happen only we know each and every parcel of land and their resources. Similarly, for crop intervention, I'm sure all of you, horticulturists, agronomists, all of you are well aware. Every crop needs their own requirement. And where that requirement is, how we can tie up and then say these parcels, you can see here, this green, in this watershed, this is the area which is highly suitable for mango. And these are areas not suitable, right? So like that is being built. And many countries know, like in European countries, this sort of database is there. Unfortunately, we are struggling, but we are on the right track. And then for the nutrient management are the cereal crops, and then for nutrient management. I think this is a great thing to happen in today's IT development should be first focused towards agriculture more than the service sector, because this is where the real analytics, data, and disruptive technology has to play a role, because the data is huge. I don't think if you put all the whole 19 million hectares, each and every parcel land in Karnataka, it will be an enormous amount of data. And think of that data is linked with the dynamic weather data, dynamic crop information, pest and disease information, and farmer gets his advisory on real-time basis. Think of it. Yes, this is the nutrient management, and just one envelope assessment in any of the watershed we have done is around 30% of the application is a misapplication in terms of fertilizer. So going to be a huge saving, leave alone benefit to the farmer, huge saving for the exchequer in terms of foreign exchange. And certainly it's a benefit to the farmer and the crop, because we can target the amount of fertilizer, depends on the deficiency or sufficiency. And that's possible because the system is making it happen. And most important, what I want, when you want to take help to the farmer or to the community, let's not confine ourselves to the soil test values. Make things which a farmer can himself judge his farm. Right? I mean, give a grade of the farm. A farmer can do better. You don't need, just educate him. There are many just ready to use simple templates, not test, simple templates, just one parameter as a proxy parameter, because the data is there. For his farm, what is the proxy thing which we can see and say this farm is in healthy situation? This is a big challenge for the universities to come out with a simple template which helps the farmer who can assess his farm whether his farm is in a right path of revival or sustainable. And then as Dr. Gurumurthy has pointed out, there is a huge opportunity to build the decision support system. The data is there, it's open. Everyone can access, starting from student to the community, and NGOs can access this. Then develop simple to complicated decision support systems, which can be simple one for the farmer to choose his crop, or the amount of fertilizer he can apply, or for the department to decide the number of check dams. Now today, the check dams are put just like that because money is there. Whether you need that, because depends on how much runoff comes into his micro watershed. So this is a big win-win situation. There are 9 decision support systems working in the state, right? Then once this type of information is available in digital form, available on real-time basis, then the list of interventions becomes very much quantified, very much meaningful, very much site-specific, and monitoring soil health and other resources becomes a long-term objective. It's not today you say no, because it's a firefight mechanism we are having it. If something happens, we intervene and then forget it. There is no long-term strategy, whether it's an nutrient management or any conservation. So this finally a network of monitoring system. And in today's pandemic, we monitor crores of persons' health, right? It's not an impossible thing to monitor the natural resources. So that's sort of a route and a direction we need to move. And it needs collaboration, participation, and sensitization at every level. And otherwise, it won't happen. And then this type of simplified approach, which the state is using it. They used it under Sujala. Now it's recognized by the global community. Without data, you cannot move further. So the data and the knowledge products and then the IT infrastructure, then you get into the interventions advisory. This is the approach which Vice Chancellor was mentioning about reward. This is in brief about it. This is an approach which is going to be replicated in the whole state in the years to come. And it will be a happy situation for all the university professors and scholars working, not wasting time even to get a map of an area or get an existing knowledge. So you build further on it, integrate further on it instead of just looking for or repeating or duplicating or wasting your time. So it's a sort. Our research stops with the review. Now the review, you don't need to go and waste much of the time. You get in your node. In all universities are getting the nodes and systems to the students, to the faculty, to the institutions. This is the approach which is now emulated in the other states also. Now the government of India is trying to put this on the national context in every state. And they're saying now, without the data, no scheme will be sanctioned in future. So what they're trying to say is site-specific intervention needs site-specific data. Without that, the misapplication is the norm rather than the exception. Right. This is the architecture of the IT system in Karnataka now. It's there along with the other portals in the data center in Bangalore, where the complete existing data of the state on natural resources, including soil, water, land use, is put now. If you want to take any cadastral map of any village, you can just go there and take that as a print. If you want to look the configuration of the land, there is an imagery there. You can select the imagery and see that. If you want to have what is the nutrient status or what is the advisory, today now my crop is at this stage, what is the advisory for next either irrigation or for any other cultural practices? You get it. Farmer can get it. Department can get it to make their plan. This is the biggest improvement and breakthrough in the state, where about 14 lakh hectares site specific for parcel level data is there. The remaining areas, general data as exists is captured. Now the state is going to cover the remaining areas. The same way the 14 lakh hectares are covered. And we'll have a complete huge database in the maybe in 5-10 years time. And this portal everyone can access. It gives you the data, the layers, maps, decision support system outputs, and advisories. And from all the, what I can say is a spatial and non-spatial data. Because the hunt for data takes, I know as a part of our agricultural universities, we don't get any data free. Even if it's there, you go to department, they won't give, right? So that's the one thing which we want to come out first. It's now available online to every university and every student for that matter. And you can generate maps, right? If you have come out with an idea, you have an which you can overlay. You can generate map and put your output as an overlay and see what is the change, right? And there is endless possibilities we are today now. And say like, I was telling about a farmer, this is his farm. He can select his survey number. It's mobile enabled, also web enabled. He can select his farm. He can have his nutrient status. He can have suitability for any crop. He can have the, say, including runoff. For every rainfall event, he can get it. And this reward is trying to build further with the advisories, so that the farmer and the stakeholders benefit much. And this is the output, which for crop selection, crop management, weather information, nutrient advice, and crop water management, and market information, all this in one place. All this in one place, which I don't think it was possible to think of 10 years back. Including the parcel level data generation was difficult, because today we have the technology, we have the space knowledge, which is almost liberalized to the use of remote sensing data for natural resources. And we have the GIS and ICT technology available. Interlinking, integration of this is possible. Huge data is handled today by your data center and under land resource inventory. And probably this is my last slide. I see the climate smart agriculture, or the management of soil health for climate smart agriculture, is not a slogan. It's a necessity. As the Vice Chancellor has rightly pointed out, we have lost so much time, and there is the rate at which the degradation is happening, the sustainability is a big question mark. And this photo which you are seeing, I was surprised. This is declared as a UNESCO heritage site for the simple reason, for thousands of years, this is continued. And today it's this is around more than 2000 mm rainfall area in Nagaland. And this is in balance with nature, balance with the ecosystem. And this, the slope is more than 100%. If they are tribals, they are classified as tribals. Naga tribes are managing this in this village. If they can manage for thousands and thousands of years their land resources, their soil, their water, and their land use practices, which are in sync with the ecosystem, cannot we do it in our area, where the slope is hardly 2%, 3% in black soil areas, red soil is 5%. And certainly we can do much better with the technology which we are having it. That's what I wish, that we make this to happen, not as once in a year event. In a way, it happens on a regular manner at every level, to the farmer and community level. As I told earlier, the land stewardship is the one which we need to be sensitized, focused. So as coming to my last slide, soil is the soul of life. On this World Soil Day, let's join to maintain its health for the benefit of the present generation and also for the future generations to come. Thank you so much to all of you for my listening to my whatever little I could share with you with my participation in some of the programs in the state for the few decades. Thank you all. Thank you so much for your listening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for enlightening us on the importance of developing, identify, develop, and promote farm or site-specific management practices using ICT tools and also utilizing recent and advanced technologies for the same. Thank you, sir. Now, it's time for the prize distribution. As part of World Soil Day 2020, the Department of Soil Science and Agriculture Chemistry conducted an essay writing competition through both online for the UG students and offline modes for the PG students. The topic for the UG students was healthy soil for the prosperity of the nation, and the topic for the PG students was a live soil, key to sustainable agriculture. And now it's time to announce the winners of the competition and honor them with the certificate and the cash prize. Among the UG students, the first prize goes to Mr. Shravan NV, second year BSc Agriculture. And the second prize among the UG students goes to Mr. Ratna Karachiel, second year BSc Agriculture. And among the MSc students, the first prize was secured by Ms. Suhani, Senior MSc Agriculture, Department of Soil Science and Agriculture. And I would like to request Himla Naik to please hand over the cash prize and the certificate. And the second prize was secured by Ms. Amrita TS, Senior MSc Agriculture, Department of Agronomy. And I would like to request the Honorable Registrar to hand over the certificate and the cash prize. And for the PhD students, the first prize goes to Mr. Sharat K, second year PhD, Department of Entomology. I would like to request Narayan Swamy sir to hand over the certificate and the cash prize. And the second prize goes to Ms. Ragini Patel, Department of Soil Science and Agriculture Chemistry. And I would like to request K.T. Gurumurthy sir to hand over the certificate and the cash prize.
Congratulations. Congrats. ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಇದ್ದಾರಾ? Okay.
Now there's a 5-minute video on today's program.
all these presentations. Only you have conducted the world article completed. Just what is the how is the and the impact on this
Land resources are not uniform and vary widely from field to field. The width and variability of soil, water, land use, weather, and other resources at field level can help to overcome the site-specific constraints. The success of watershed development, precision farming, smart farming, will draw more crop depends on identifying site-specific constraints and designing appropriate interventions to overcome them. Such site-specific land resource information is not available at present. In this context, the World Bank-supported Shivamogga 3 project is taking up in Karnataka to generate site-specific land resource database by using the state-of-the-art remote sensing, GIS, field surveying, and mapping techniques. Develop digital library, establish portal, develop decision support systems for real-time advisory, and strengthen horticulture and other programs in rain-fed areas. Sujala project is implemented from 2013 in 11 districts with an estimated cost of 527.67 crore rupees. The project is executed by a consortium of 14 institutions. The National Bureau of Soil Survey and Land Use Planning, led to Land Resource Inventory, and Indian Institute of Science on Hydrology. Land Resource Inventory is carried out by using cadastral maps and high-resolution satellite imagery by transversing the watershed area. Holding provides to characterize the soils and collecting soil and water samples for analysis based on similarity in soil, site, and other characteristics. Homogeneous areas are delineated as management units and soil map prepared from the NRI database impacting maps on soil and water conservation, sustainability, nutrient, and groundwater status, etc. are generated through GIS. The spatial and non-spatial database and maps generated from NRI are disseminated to the line departments, farmers, and other users on real-time basis through the establishment of digital library, NRI portal, decision support system, and mobile applications. The development of decision support systems is critical for providing advisories and options to the planners, farmers, and other land users. To identify the type of structures and design and estimate the access for crop selection, helps to select the most suitable crop for the farm and non-nutrient to align by large nutrients to the selected crops. Similarly, identifying the path of runoff at farm and watershed levels, location of farm ponds, from water requirement, soil moisture, and for water budgeting based on NRI information, conservation plan, crop plan, and other treatment plans are prepared for 11 watersheds and further implementation of the saturation goal in 11 project districts in the state. The present outcomes of Sumatra 3 project like reduction of watersheds uncle to 3 years, targeting way of making up site-specific treatments, and drawing the attention of many states and are fast emerging as a role model to follow for watershed development, particularly for Keynote project in the country. All this has brought in many logos and accolades at the national and international levels.
Good.
Now, I would like to request the president of today's program, Dr. Naik sir, Dean Agri and Campus at College of Agriculture, Shivamogga, to deliver the presidential remarks.
Good morning, friends. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. M.K. Naik sir, and today's chief guest, Dr. A. Natarajan, retired principal scientist, my colleagues on the dais, and all my beloved student friends and the colleagues who have gathered here for this witnessed a memorable function of the day. So friends, the purpose of this celebration of World Soil Day, the purpose and why it has why we are celebrating on 5th December only, that reason everybody has already pointed out very clearly by the speaker, particularly starting from our Honorable Vice Chancellor. He gave really an enlightened speech with respect to how soil is evolved and what is the role of soil and how best we can conserve the soil for the future generation. And he said very clearly, one very excellent message is ಇರುವುದೊಂದೇ ಭೂಮಿ. ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಈ ದಿನವನ್ನ ನಾವು ಏನು ಡಿಸೆಂಬರ್ 5ಕ್ಕೆ ಇಡೀ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಾದ್ಯಂತ ಭೂಮಿಯ ವಿಶ್ವ ಭೂಮಿ ದಿನಾಚರಣೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾವೇನು ಆಚರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, ಅದು ಸುಮಾರು ಇಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಆದ ನಂತರ ಈ ಭೂಮಿ ಪ್ಲಾನೆಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಒಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಹುಟ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ್ಲಿ ಭೂಮಿಯನ್ನ ನೆನಪು ಮಾಡಿ ಆ ನೆನಪಿನ ಅವ್ರ ಹುಟ್ಟು ಹಬ್ಬದ ನೆನಪಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಇಡೀ ಪ್ರಪಂಚ ಭೂಮಿಯನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಏನು ಇವತ್ತು ಮಾನ್ಯತೆ ಕೊಡುವಂತ ದಿನ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಭೂಮಿ ಬೋಲ್, ಅವ್ರ ಹೆಸರು ಭೂಮಿ ಬೋಲ್ ಐತೆ, ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಪುಣ್ಯವಂತಾನೆ. ಎ ಭೂಮಿ ಬೋಲ್ all India is a really wonderful the personality. So who has made the entire world to celebrate the soil day? At least we must thank all of you. Let us give a big hand to that for the great personality in the world. So friends, the Honorable Vice Chancellor speech alli helidru, ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ನಟರಾಜನ್ ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಕನ್ಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಟೂಲ್ಸ್ ಮೆಥಡಾಲಜಿ, ಈ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮಣ್ಣನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ನಾವು ಕನ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಜನರೇಷನ್. ದೇ ಗೆವ್ ವೆರಿ ಎಕ್ಸಲೆಂಟ್ ದಿ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಟುಡೇ. And in my presidential speech, just I don't want to brief everything what they have highlighted. So friends, so today, the day which we are celebrating from 2014 in the entire world, we are celebrating this day, and it will be ever continued till the human being survive on this earth planet, I think henceforth. And before that, I think regarding this ಮಣ್ಣು ದಿನಾಚರಣೆ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ಮಣ್ಣನ್ನ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಯಾವ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ನಾವು ಹಸಿರು ಕ್ರಾಂತಿಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ ನಂತರ ಮಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಣ್ಣನ್ನು ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ಮಲಿನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಮಣ್ಣನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಜೀವನ ಇಲ್ದಿರುವಂತ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಮಣ್ಣನ್ನ ಸಾಯಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ತಪ್ಪಾಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಡೀ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಾದ್ಯಂತ ಒಂದು ಮಾನವನ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಂದ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕಾರ್ಖಾನೆಗಳಿಂದ ಆಗಿರೋದು, ಅದು ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ಮಾನವನೇ. ಸೊ ಈ ಮಾನವನ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಂದ ಭೂಮಿಯನ್ನು ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ನಾವೇನು ಇವತ್ತು ಕಡೆಗಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಆ ದಿನವನ್ನ ನೆನಪು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಜೀವ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಒಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಈ ಥೈಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ನ ರಾಜ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಿಂದ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕಣ್ಣನ್ನ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಇಡೀ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಮಾರು 60,000ಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಮಣ್ಣು ವಿಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳು ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಗಳನ್ನ ಮಣ್ಣನ್ನ ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಜೀವ ತುಂಬಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಡೀ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಾದ್ಯಂತ. ನಾನು ನಿನ್ನೆ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, FAO ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದನ್ನ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾದ ಚಿತ್ರಣನೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ನನಗೆ ಲಕಿಲಿ ಐ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ದಟ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್. ಐ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಧನಂಜಯ್ ಅಂಡ್ ತಿಪ್ಪೇಶಪ್ಪ ಫಾರ್ ಗಿವನ್ ದಟ್ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ಮೀ. ಸೊ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನಾವು ಭೂಮಿಯನ್ನ ಕನ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಜನರೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಜನ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳು, ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಸೈಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇಡೀ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಲಕ್ಷೋಪಲಕ್ಷ ಜನ ಅಗ್ರಾನಮಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಹಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಚರಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸಸ್ಯಶಾಸ್ತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮಾಣು ಜೀವಿ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಮಣ್ಣನ್ನು ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಇಡೀ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಣ್ಣನ್ನು ಉಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕೆ? ಮಣ್ಣಿದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ, ಮಣ್ಣಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ವ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ಮಣ್ಣು. ಸುಮಾರು 95% ಜನಸಂಖ್ಯೆಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಆಹಾರ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಭೂಮಿಯಿಂದ. ನಾವ್ ಎಷ್ಟೇ ಹಣ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ, ಹಣಗಳನ್ನು ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಕೋಟ್ಯಾಂತರ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಎಷ್ಟೇ ಹಣ ಮಾಡಿರ್ಬೋದು, ನಾವು ಮನೆ ತುಂಬಾ, ರೂಮ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಮನೆ ದುಡ್ಡನ್ನು ಇಡ್ಬೋದು, ಮನೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗೋದು ಬರೀ ಬೈರಿಗೈಲಿ, ಅದು ಈ ಮಣ್ಣಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾತ್ರ. ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಒಂದು ಅರ್ಥ ಬಹಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಈ ಭೂಮಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಹುಟ್ಟಿರುವಂತ ಪ್ರತಿಗಳು ಎಷ್ಟೇ ಜನ್ಮ ಹುಟ್ಟು ಬಂದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಭೂಮಿ ತಾಯಿಯ ಋಣವನ್ನು ತೀರಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾರ ಕೈಲೂ ಸಾಧ್ಯನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಹಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಭೂಮಿ ತಾಯಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನಮಗೆ ಬೇಡವಾದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲದ್ರೂ ಅದ್ರ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಒಳಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಬೇಡವಾದ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ವಿಷಕಾರಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಏನೋ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಏನೋ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಏನೋ ಕಾರ್ಗಳಾಗ್ಬೋದು, ಏನೇ ಹಾಳಾದ ವಸ್ತುಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಭೂಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಹೋಗೋದು ಭೂಮಿ ಒಳಗನೆ. ಈ ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಕರಗಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಗಿಡಗಳಿಗೆ ಆಹಾರವನ್ನು ಒದಗಿಸಿ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಬೆಳೆಯುವಂತ ಜೀವಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಆಹಾರ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಭೂಮಿ. ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಇದೆ, ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಭೂಮಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಬಹಳ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾವು ಬರೀ ಹಣಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಹಣಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಏನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದು, ದುಡ್ಡು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಆ ದುಡ್ಡಿನ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೇ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಭೂಮಿಯನ್ನ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ಎಳಿತಾ ಇದೆಯೋ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಆಹಾರಗಳನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಭೂಮಿಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋದು ಬಹಳ ಕಡಿಮೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮಾಣು ಜೀವಿಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಓದಿದ್ದೀರಾ ನೀವು. More than 95% of the microorganisms which are living in the rhizosphere or whatever in the soil, they are working almost 365 days, 12 into 24 or 24 into 7 days for the complete the rejuvenation of the soil. Whatever we are putting in the soil, it is working only with the microorganisms. So that means we should hats off to the microorganisms also for the future generation. Whereas we are least bothering about the soil enrichment. Anyway, with all these friends, even the nature is also destructing the soil, like the rain water complete runoff of the Nelgade. A fertile soil is almost vanishing. And you know all, the history says, estimation says very clearly, a 1 gram of soil, organic carbon what the soil is available. The scientific community, with all of us, we have to think about the conservation of the soil. So ultimately, if the soil is there, everything is there. If no soil, no life, nothing. So this is the ultimate lesson, at least one should remember. So with these friends, of course, all we scientific faculty. So if not, we ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಮಾಜ ಇಡೀ ಪ್ರಪಂಚ ಸುಧಾರಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಮ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ಇರೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಇಡೀ ದೇಶವನ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಇಡೀ ಪ್ರಪಂಚವನ್ನು ಸುಧಾರಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ದಂಗೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ 7 ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಗಳು ಏನ್ ಬಂದಿದಾವೆ, ಆ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಲ್ಲಿ ಝೋನ್ಗಳು ಬಹಳಷ್ಟಿದೆ. ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಇದೆ. ಕೊಡಗುದಲ್ಲಿ, ಚಿಕ್ಕಮಗಳೂರು ಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಕೋಸ್ಟಲ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಸ್ಲೈಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅದು ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಸ್ಲೈಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ. ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಅನ್ನ ವೀಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ, ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೋ ಡಿಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಲೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅದು ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಟಿಲೇಜ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ, ಅಗ್ರಾನಮಿ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ, ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ, ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಕನ್ಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ with so many minimum tillage, with growing of your what you call the mulching crops or any vegetation, green vegetation, so that we can conserve the soil ultimately. So ultimately sliding ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. ಅಂತ ಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆ ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನು ಬೆಳೆಸಬೇಕು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋದಿಷ್ಟೇ, ಹಣ ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ನಾನು. ಹಣ ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನೋಪಾಯಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕೋ ಅಷ್ಟನ್ನು ಮಾತ್ರ ಹಣದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ದನ್ನ 4-6 ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನ ಬೆಳೆಸಿ ಹೋದ್ವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಜನರೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಲೈಫ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ನಾವೊಂದು ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ ಲೈಫಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೀವಿ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದ್ರು ಕೂಡ, ಯಾವುದೇ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ಹೋದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಗಿಫ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡುವಂತ ಪದ್ಧತಿ ನಾವು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಗಿಡ ನೂರಾರು ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ, ನೂರಾರು ತಲೆಮಾರುಗಳಿಗೆ ಲೈಫ್ ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದಟ್ ಜನರೇಷನ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ದಿ ಪರ್ಸನ್, ದಿ ಭೂಮಿ ಗೋಲ್ಡ್, who has at least made this memorable event to celebrate entire globe. So ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ನನಗೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ನಾನು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸಮಯ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಅವಕಾಶವನ್ನು ಇವತ್ತು ಇಂಥ ಅರ್ಥಗರ್ಭಿತವಾದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ನನಗೆ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷತೆ ವಹಿಸಿ GN ತಿಪ್ಪೇಶಪ್ಪ ಅವರ ಟೀಮ್, ದುಷ್ಯಂತ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಧನಂಜಯ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ನಾಗರಾಜ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಗಣಪತಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಹೀಗೆ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಸೈಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರು ಇದ್ದೀರಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳ ಸಹಕಾರದಿಂದ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನ ಸರ್ವಜ್ಞ ಸಾಲಿಮಠ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಇವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಒಂದು ಶ್ರಮ ಪಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾನು ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್ ಇಂದ ನನ್ನ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಇದ್ರು, ಸರ್ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತ. ನನ್ಗೆ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಆಗುವಂತ ಅವಕಾಶ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ದು ನನ್ನ ಪುಣ್ಯ. ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ, ಈ ಭೂಮಿಯನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕಾಪಾಡೋಣ, ಭೂಮಿ ಪೂಜೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡೋಣ, ಸದಾ ಭೂಮಿಯನ್ನ ನಾವು ಪೂಜಿಸೋಣ. ಆ ಪೂಜಿಸೋಕೆ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಮಾರ್ಗ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಕೂದಲು ಗಡ್ಡಿ ಬೆಳೆಗೋದಲ್ಲ ಪೂಜೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನ ನೆಡಿ ಅಂತ. ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನ ನೆಳೆದ್ರೆ ಆ ಭೂಮಿ ಕೊರಕಲು ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ, ಆ ಭೂಮಿ ತಾಯಿ ಫಸಲಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಕಾಪಾಡ್ತಾಳೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ನನ್ನ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವಕಾಶ ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ನನ್ನ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಉದ್ಘಾಟನಾ ಭಾಷಣವನ್ನ ಮುಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಜೈ ಹಿಂದ್, ಜೈ ಭುವನೇಶ್ವರಿ, ಜೈ ಭೂಮಿ ಗೋಲ್ಡ್.
Thank you, sir. Finally, before drawing the curtains down, I would like to request Professor Dr. M.S. Nagaraj sir to convey the word of thanks to all those who graced the program with their presence and made the program a grand success.
Good afternoon, everybody. With the permission, actually, there was one message from Dr. Wagesh that if there are any questions by the student community to Professor Natarajan, you can be asked. I mean, if one or two, if there is any specific question. But at the same time, we are also running short of the time. So, well, okay. Since we are running short of the time, what we will do is we will conclude the session and then we will keep the internet session on. Those who are having questions, you can interact with Professor Natarajan. Okay. I feel really honored to give the word of thanks on this occasion for two reasons. Because I was seeing all the pictures and all that when I was at Bagalkot, the World Soil Day celebrations, which was happening at UAHS in Shivamogga. But today I feel privileged because I am wearing this T-shirt, because this is the kind of participation and organization level which the Department of Soil Science, which is doing extremely well. And second thing is, in today's digital world, hardly we have time to meet people, and especially at the institute level, we do not have time for meeting people or inviting people. But the Department of Soil Science is very lucky to have this World Soil Day event, so that we invite our own college colleagues, and across the campuses we invite people, so that way we interact with them. So that way, definitely, I feel privileged to give the give the word of thanks for this function. First, I would like to thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor for inaugurating the function, and also to give the inaugural address on this occasion. So simply said, Irudunde Bhumi, that particularly all the three speakers, the presidential remarks and the invited speaker, as well as our Honorable Vice Chancellor, finally the conclusion was the World Soil Day is not celebrated only on the 5th December, but it should be celebrated throughout. As long as we are alive, it should be celebrated. That's what the message. And that way, the Honorable Vice Chancellor very clearly said, the Irudunde Bhumi, sir, on this particular occasion, on behalf of the department, on behalf of the college, and all the key officers who are here. So I thank you. I take this privilege to thank you once again. Thank you. And secondly, in this COVID fear world, virtuality has become the reality. Okay, it was inevitable to have my teacher, Dr. Aina, who is a guide to me all along. And sir, our officers, colleagues, students, and the university as a whole enjoyed your presentation. On behalf of the university, it is my privilege to thank you for your wonderful presentation. Of course, despite it's a half a day, Saturday, and all the officers will be busy with their own office work, with all that, we are very fortunate to have all the officers on the dais actually. But of course, at the end, for them to attend the last minute important activities. So some of them are went back to their office section. So that way I individually, though I do not express it, but I thank all the key officers for their participation and for making their patient presence here and to make this function a very success. I thank you all the officers for present. Okay. And at the same time, our special thanks to the Dean, the campus head. Because if you look at the morning, the first message, it was from him, depicting the World Soil Days, the Rangoli which was made by our own students. So that means, in fact, he was here by 9:15 at this particular hall, seeing that, like the function becomes a very successful. Sir, so it is our privilege to thank you for making this function very successful. Okay, so to mark this particular function, okay, so our soil science person would like to give the plant to keep the soil alive. Okay.
And also plant alive.
Plant alive, yeah. As long as the plant is alive, the soil is alive.
The plant is alive means that is an indication that soil is also alive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I request Dhananjay to give the plant to the registrar. Our students will give the plant to President Ryan Swami. Then Dean. Dean PGs. And the head. Yeah.
How to carry?
You can carry. Okay. Of course, Dhananjay, we are also giving a plant to the head of the Department of Horticulture. Okay, so it is. See, without his support, this event would not have taken place.
Sorry.
And the division heads are also here. But Sudhindra. Ramesh. When it students, Dr. Bogi, agricultural. Okay, in fact, Bhumi and our Thai had really, unless we give it to the woman. Okay, so we have a good colleague close to the Department of Soil Science, that is from agronomy. That Soumya is also there. Thank you, Dr. Soumya. Yeah. Okay. See, now we can just see that this entire event is happening because of the students. And our first, before I thank the department head, I would like to thank the students with the head's permission, because for the last 3 or 4 days, probably the students have not slept. They have worked day and night, and of course our head also has not allowed them to sleep, including Dr. Saliman. They have not slept for the last 4 days probably. Okay. In fact, we have one, we have a student from another continent.
Otherwise, he is throwing the airport.
Okay. So the correct. And actually, in fact, before I thank the students, in the whole event, the whole platform was created by Mr. Sunil. Okay, so he created the platform not only online here, offline here, it is also he created the platform for online. So he made to come on the platform for celebrating the World Soil Center. So thank you, Sunil. Thank you. So see, now he also belongs to the department, so you can just look at his uniform. Okay. Now I thank all the, on behalf of the college, on behalf of the students, department, I thank all the student friends who have participated wholeheartedly for the last 3 days, both from the department and also from the other departments, for making this particular function a great success. And and finally, I thank my department head and also my department colleagues from Soil Science, both at the college and who are from the campuses. And also, there are many people who have participated online. Our honorable board member Arun Kumar and many deans are also there online, and our the earlier heads, especially Dr. Vagesh, etc. So they are there online to attend this particular function. So I thank all the participants who participate both online and offline finally. So thank you very much. Thank you. So I thank all the participants for sitting here. Yeah, sir. So actually, we all thank you once again. And now we will be joining for the photo session because the students. Okay. Actually, some students may have some discussion. I'll just get back to you in a minute, sir. I'll just get back to you in a minute. Photo session ki you arrange students who have any specific questions, any issue? No, of course, you will be visiting our campus anytime, before, in the next, in this academic year itself. I mean, naturally, you can have time and you can have your questions there also.
So you can ask.
If you have anything specific, no. Sir, Natarajan sir, probably the students are feeling shy to ask questions at this hour because like they're tired also. Okay, because now they're running for having a photo session because all our offices are concerned. That's why we will have the session later. I will be in touch with you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Thank you very much for your participation and suggestion. Thank you very much, sir, on behalf of University and thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. I'm really, honored, and it's my privilege. Thank you so much. Nice day today. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Once again, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
thank you, sir.